This is one of the great scandals of modern American history. The United States made a promise to the residents of the original Camp Ashraf, that they, in exchange for putting down their arms and not defending themselves, that the United States would defend them and guarantee their safety and treat them as protected people. And when the United States left Iraq, we just left them in a lurch.
That's Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz on this program just last week, describing the dilemma in which some Iranians find themselves as they're detained in Iraq, ironically at the place we once called Camp Liberty. Now, in just a couple of minutes, President Obama will meet with the Iraqi Prime Minister. That's why now is a perfect time to welcome our next guest, retired Army Colonel Wes Martin, who joins us from Newsmax Washington. Colonel Martin, thanks for your time. You've testified before Congress on this issue. Do you expect that it will be a topic of conversation in this meeting that starts momentarily between the President and the Prime Minister?
Well, we have certainly worked very hard to make it a topic of conversation. 34 American dignitaries put together a letter, sent it to Prime Minister al-Abadi, and also courtesy copied Tony Blinken at the State Department, and also Brett McGurk and numerous other people, that we want to have certain issues addressed. The security of Camp Liberty. I used to be the commander of Camp Ashraf, and I also lived at Camp Liberty at one time. And what we've done is taken originally over 3,000 people, now about 2,500 still there. Albania's accepted a lot, and we've compressed them into a very, very small area. And then we've denied them medical treatment. We've rocket attacks have come in. Every time something bad happens to Camp Liberty or to the residents, the first thing the State Department says, there is no evidence the Iraqi government was involved. Well, recently I did this investigation, and I went through all the details of exactly how the Iraqi government was involved in the ground attacks at Ashraf and the rocket attacks at Camp Liberty.
So obviously, Colonel, you have been doing your homework. You have that investigation there compiled that you showed us. You also talked about the letter that was sent. Now, I understand, in addition, while the meeting goes on inside the White House, we understand there's a protest going on outside the White House. So in view of that, do you think the pressure has built to a critical mass so the president will indeed inquire of the Iraqi Prime Minister, or perhaps demand that some changes be made at Camp Liberty?
I would like to think it's going to be that, and in reality, it's a demonstration to further bring the matter to the attention. About a year and a half ago, when Maliki was visiting President Obama, we did have what amounted to a protest because we knew Maliki was committing genocide throughout Iraq and also attacking the residents. al-Abadi has shown himself to be a little bit more moderate, even though he's part of Maliki's Dawa party, and even though his government is saturated by the Iranian government influences and appointees. But al-Abadi has shown himself to be more moderate, and we're hoping President Obama will do the harder right over the easier wrong and start addressing these people. Unfortunately, it was President Obama's administration that revoked the protected person status back in 2009. I worked closely with the residents when I was commander of Camp Ashraf, and several military officers have signed this letter that worked at Ashraf and was saying, we gave promises in the middle of combat, and in combat you make a promise. That is your bond. You never break it, because it's the integrity and it's the fiber of the American warrior, all warriors. And so we're hoping President Obama will do the harder right over the easier wrong.
Well, speaking of that, and you touched on it just a second ago, the actions in office of Iraqi Prime Minister al-Abadi. Now, we understand he's coming to Washington essentially to ask for more money. Given the fact he wants more money and weapons, is that the leverage needed, or does something actually have to occur to get President Obama off the dime to demand some changes?
It has to get President Obama and Secretary John Kerry. John Kerry could sign a piece of paper and release the residents from Camp Liberty and bring them to the United States today, if he wanted to. The only country that's taken any of them in great mass is Albania. But Albania didn't make the promises that we made. Albania didn't work with them in combat. President Obama could do the harder right. John Kerry could do the harder right, but neither one of them has, and neither did Hillary Clinton. Hillary was the one that revoked the protected person status after they had worked closely and saved American lives. I know that for a fact because some of those lives they saved were assigned to my camp when I was there.
And Colonel, obviously, one of the rules of command is to take care of your troops and take care of people in your charge. Mindful of that, we have seen with this administration early on during Mr. Obama's years in office, the rise of Iranian dissidents, a kind of springtime in Tehran that the president basically took a hands-off attitude on. Now with the negotiations over nuclear capabilities in Iran, does that mean the president is going to continue this hands-off situation with the Iranians at Camp Liberty?
It's worse than that. What's happening is the Iranian government is very successful at tying down 5 countries at the negotiating table because we don't want to offend the Iranian government. We're not doing anything to stop them anywhere else. They're running all over Syria, all over Iraq. Now they're in Yemen. And now they're working to go into Lebanon. It's a never-ending story. We praised the 101st Airborne in World War II for holding down the Germans at Bastogne. The Iranian government has done it at one table. They're holding down 5 different countries. That is unbelievable, but it's happening.
30 seconds remain. The people who are interred there at what used to be Camp Liberty, are they mostly Iranian dissidents? Tell us, does Iran want any of those people back?
Oh, Iran wants all of them back so they can put them in prison and hang them from the gallows. They want every one of them back if they can get them. And unfortunately, one of them is being held in the Iraqi jail right now for a vehicle accident that was clearly not his fault, and because Tehran wants to keep undermining the security of the residents and make them feel less and less secure. Rudy Giuliani correctly calls this a concentration camp. Sometimes I call it an extermination camp in waiting. If this president and this secretary doesn't move, it will become an extermination camp.
Colonel Wes Martin, will have to leave it there. We thank you for your time, and now here's a national weather update.
Hey, I'm Jessica Reyes with your weather from coast to coast. Yes, spring is officially here, but Mother Nature doesn't seem to care. We are expecting some snow across the higher elevations for today, anywhere between 3 and 6 inches. Meanwhile, across the Great Lakes, a lot warmer. Rapid City, South Dakota, with mainly sunny skies. Daytime highs reaching the lower 80s into the 70s by the Great Lakes. Mainly sunny skies for Minneapolis. Meanwhile, we will continue moving southward, where we are dealing with rain and lots of it, including lots of flooding into parts of Houston and New Orleans as well. And then a lot of that will continue moving eastward across the southeast, especially by the Atlantic coastline, so showers and thunderstorms through there. A lot cooler by the northeastern portion of the country, especially as you step out this morning. And in today's worst weather, we're doing it at a Ball, Louisiana, with the daytime high in the mid-70s at 74, overnight low of 62 degrees. And here are some of your daytime highs.
And our thanks to Jessica Reyes. Usually we hear the expression, keep your eye on the ball, but I guess the folks in Ball, Louisiana will have to keep their eye on the skies with the threatening weather projected there that we just heard about from Jessica. Well, it's not so much threatening. I guess it depends on your interpretation. Threatening, promising, new presidential candidates and their impact on our future and our immediate future. We're going to talk about that next with our political panel. Stay with us.